everyone. Thanks for coming. How's everyone doing? Where is everyone watching from today? It's always different. There are always a few people from the US and Korea. Where are you right now? Anywhere interesting that's besides Los Angeles, or I guess besides Seoul? I just posted a link to the Discord channel, which is a free it's open 24/7 Discord that you can join and hang out with other people who are learning Korean. So make sure to check that out. Let's see. The UK, Manchester, Brazil, London, Maryland, Norway, Newcastle. Why is it called Newcastle? Is there an old castle? And is that why it's called Newcastle? Like, hey, we made the new castle here, so let's call it Newcastle. How creative. I bet you that's the reason why. It's probably something lazy like that. But I don't know. I'm just my guess from reading the name. I know a lot of names are like that. Like, oh, let's just call this place, I don't know, Hill. There's a hill here. Colombia, another UK as well. Poland, nice. That's right, Paulina. Canada. Oh, Canada's East Coast. I see. Yeah, wasn't it quite cloudy and rainy on the East Coast recently? Greece, Madison, New Hampshire, Portugal, Sweden, Panama, Romania, Vietnam, New Zealand, Annapolis, Maryland, California. Boring. No, I'm just joking. I'm from California too. France. France. Another Trinidad and Tobago. Argentina, Berlin, Florida, Israel, New York. Welcome. Keep them coming. Where else are you from? So I have some quick announcements while everyone's letting me know where they're coming from. If you haven't already, make sure to check out this channel. Come Wednesday, you can watch this abridged live stream. We haven't done it yet. It'll be uploaded for everyone to watch on Wednesday. But if you are a channel member, so you're one of my paid supporters on this channel, you also get to watch these live stream abridged versions the same night that they finish. So after the live stream, after I've taught the lesson today, you can go into my YouTube channel right here, usually about 3 hours or so after they finish, 4 hours, and watch the video of the abridged version, which will be about 10 minutes usually. So that's for members only. Everyone else can watch it though, come around Wednesday. Also, if you're a member, you support me. So that's wonderful. Actually, by coming here and watching my videos, you're supporting me anyway. But people who are members support me a little bit more. Yeah, that's how I can keep doing this, is my members, as well as my Patreon supporters. Both my Patreons and my members are keeping me alive. Yes. So the reason I can keep doing this is thanks to you. So a big shout out to you. And I see something flashing behind me, so I think that's a donation. Yes, a $5 donation. Thank you. From Zandria Waters. Hey, Zandria. Shopping on K sites and worried about scams I might not catch since it's a second language for me. What vocab or tricks should be on my radar? So, Zandria, first of all, thank you. And let me put your name up here onto our extra love board for today. I'll just call it that. You want to know what words to look out for shopping. Give me a second to think about that while I check to see where everyone else is from. We got another Norway, New York, Dallas, Florida, Colombia, Gold Coast, and Portugal. Yeah, it's interesting. Portugal, search, if you're bored, search Portugal and Japan trade, if you're ever curious. And it applies, all of that applies to Korea, except for the fact that they weren't trading with Korea. But the stuff that Portugal was trading with that area at the time came down into Korea. So a lot of things in Korea are from Portugal, if you're curious about that. Montana, Ohio. Gozaimasu. Let's see. Another France? I could tell before you said that, though, your name is Géraldine Amir. I could tell you're going to be from France before you said it. Jordan? Okay, so Zandra, you're worried about scams on Korean websites. You're probably referring to ordering from Korean websites. I wouldn't worry as much as you are. If you are paying with a credit card, you're going to have fraud protection on your credit card anyway. So let's say you order something and it doesn't get delivered, you just dispute it and you get your money back. I wouldn't worry about it that much. A lot of Korean websites, though, for ordering stuff, if you're really worried about scams or anything like that, I would say stick to the bigger websites for ordering. Things like Coupang. It's going to be safe. I mean, the item, you could still get a fake item anywhere, just like you can lots of fake items on, any major website. But if you're on the larger websites, there's going to be an extra layer of security. So if you get a fake item where they don't deliver, you don't even have to go to the credit card dispute route. You can just, do the customer service route through there and get your money back. Coupang, 11 ST, so 11th Street. There's another one. I'm not thinking of it right now. There are a few major ones. I would stick to those if you want to do ordering and have it be safe. And then what you want to look for is this is a trade secret. Koreans know about this. 배대지. Now, some websites don't like this. Some websites know about these and they won't ship there, but a lot of them do. They might have some, depending on where you're ordering. Basically, it's a way to order products with a proxy shipping address. And there are companies that will offer these to you. They will say, hey, you can send it to this address. Just here are our rules. And you have to read a lot of rules for it. So it might not be the easiest method, but if all else fails and you really need to get something from Korea, some of these websites can help you out. It lets you order something and ship it to an address that's not yours, but then they'll forward it to you, or you can, another option actually just came to mind is if you're in Korea, then you can actually have things shipped to like your local convenience store if you don't have an address as well. Anyway, this is like a huge topic. I don't order that much stuff from Korea, so I don't have to use it that much, but I have done a couple times where I'll order something and send it through a proxy address like that, just because there's no other way to get the item. Welcome our new member, Hope Gate. Let's see. Oh, another person from Canada. Welcome. Aniki says, one of my friends gave me a Korean Bible and I saw this grammar. Yeah, Muro, I actually have that in my book. It's not that rare, but it's through doing. And yes, it's used. It's just a formal form. I think I've done a live stream about it. I'd have to double check, but I think if you search my Google document, I'll link that here. I'll put another link to my Google document in the chat, but check out the Google document. It has every live stream I've ever done. I believe I've done that form or at least mentioned it, but check there. It's simply a through doing. So like 하므로써. But it's not commonly used. It's less common because it's more of a formal form. If I haven't taught it there, I think it's probably in my book, but yeah. Yeah, Becca says, I've never had any issues. So you're referring to ordering things in Korea? Same. I've never had any problems where I got like the wrong item. The only thing I've had problems with are regular ordering problems. Like you order something and it's late, or you order something and it's not the right one that you want. Like you got the wrong color. You realized, oh no, I didn't need this. Or it hasn't been any like outright scams for ordering stuff on Korean websites. In fact, Korean websites are, for ordering stuff in Korea, credit cards are pretty regulated in that it's hard to use credit cards to make orders sometimes because they'll have so many additional security verification steps that you have to do, that if you want to use an actual credit card through a Korean website to order something, it's really annoying to do it because you can't just take your number and your expiration date and get an order through on a lot of these Korean websites. You have to confirm your identity a lot of times. There's an issue like that when you're using ordering apps. At least it used to be. Nowadays it's better, but it used to be you had to like confirm several times, like through your credit card, in order to put your Korean credit card into a Korean app to order something before you could then just click order to get what you wanted. But yeah, I don't think I'd worry too much about it. There are other things that you should worry about, like, you know, money scams or stuff like that. And I address a few of them in an upcoming video that'll probably be, I think, next month, where I give a tour of a certain area in Seoul and some scammy stuff you might find there and how to avoid it. But it's not related to ordering stuff. It's more like if you see someone approach you and start asking you questions in Korea, 99% it's going to be a scam. And yeah, that's one thing to look out for. I'd say that's a much more realistic scam is if you're in Korea, maybe most of you don't know this. If you're in Korea, what would you do, before I tell you, what would you do if someone approaches you on the street and just says, "Oh, hi, hello. Where are you from? How's it going?" If someone just randomly approaches you, I'm not talking like you're standing together in line and some old person talks to you. I'm just talking about a regular person walks up to you, "Hello." What would you do? It's 99% or more, maybe 100%. It's a scam. I can't tell you what it is because there are a dozen different things it could be. But yeah, that's a really common thing to look out for in tourist areas. It's super common. If anyone comes up to you and gives you anything, says, "Hey, welcome to Korea," or whatever, "Here, have this free," whatever, it's a scam. If someone asks you for money, maybe they won't up front. Maybe they'll first give you something and then ask for money. It's a scam. There are these sorts of things are in Korea as well, and you won't find them unless you're in the tourist areas, but very common. Doesn't even have to be. Yeah, Zandra mentions, or a cult. It doesn't even have to be, but yeah, that's a common one. We haven't started a live stream class yet, if you're wondering. We are going to start the lesson in 10 minutes. So right now is just kind of about 10 minutes left for banter, for questions, anything like that. Free game. When we start the lesson, though, I'll be looking at the chat intermittently throughout the stream. But right now, I'm just focused on the chat. So I'm reading all your messages right now. Becca says, "I have a couple Korean websites that use PayPal. These days, there are some more, but it's still not that common because PayPal isn't really a big thing over there when you can send money in many other ways. Typically, I'd say the most common way to send money is going to be direct bank transfer. In fact, even if you go to like one of those food carts on the side of the road, right, in a tourist area, and all they have is like, you know, they're using one pair of gloves for cooking and grabbing your money and, you know, like everything. Those types of places that look like they're just set up by some random person, they will also accept bank transfer. It's the most common thing that I see as an alternative to credit cards. And the reason is to send a bank transfer, all you do is go on the bank's, either your app or the website, and you just enter in their number. And that's it. You enter in the number and verify it's their name. The end. That there's just like a long, like a code. It's about the length of a credit card number. You enter in their code, verify it's their name, click send, done. They can check right there that it was processed. So there's no reason for something like, you know, PayPal, where we didn't really have a way to easily send money, or Venmo. We didn't really have a way to do that in the US before PayPal or Venmo existed. You would just have to go to the bank, get money or a cashier's check and go and give it to the person. You could do a wire transfer, but then wire transfers have a fee in the US. But in Korea, it's just so common. You can do a bank transfer like, "Here, I'll give you $1. Here's $5. You know, it's not a big deal. So that's more of a common thing in Korea's bank transfers. But you can only do that if you have a Korean bank. Oh, Becca, hey, welcome. Thanks for joining the party. Becca's our newest member. Just a reminder, if you're a member, you get access to the special emotes here that you can only use if you're a member. You also get a little badge by your name that shows that you are a paid supporter of this sort of Korean content. Appreciate it. I don't have I think I have like 100 members or so now. I'd have to check 100-ish. It makes a big difference. It's the difference between, can I afford to buy this piece of equipment for a video I'm making or not? And usually I have been able to lately. So yeah, I'm going to be going. Oh yeah, that's the other announcement I wanted to make before we start. I'm going back to Korea. So I had said a few weeks ago that I couldn't because it's so expensive. And it is. The price hasn't gone down. But I figured out, with the help of my wife, we were researching for the cheapest, the most annoying departure times, like everything, to get the cheapest possible flight to and from Korea. And we figured it out. And also a cheap place to stay in a good area that's not total garbage, that I can actually, live there, and reduced the time that I'm in Korea also, which significantly reduces the amount that I have to pay to stay there. Normally I'd stay for 3.5 weeks. This time I'm going to be staying for less than 2 weeks. So it's going to be a shorter stay, but the benefit is I get to go. And the price that I'll be paying for this much shorter trip is the same price I paid last year for a longer trip, but still I get to go. So yeah, I'm going to be in Korea again for just a couple weeks coming next month. So it'll be very short, but I'm planning on filming as many videos as I can. So hopefully, another 6 to 10 videos, some more interviews on the streets. You can look forward to that coming up toward the end of the year. So yeah, woo, that was my reaction too, Kenneth. Zandria says, I'm going to be cleaning, so I assume I'll get all the sentences 99% right, except one annoying typo I never catch. Yes, that's usually how it works. Miguel, almost said Miguel. Miguel Pardo, I just discovered your channel. How should I start watching your videos? There is a special order. Let me, let's see, where is this? Hold on. Start. Okay, I'll link a video for how you can get started learning Korean. It kind of has everything in there. There is a beginner course I have, which is 100 episodes, and it's like a full beginner course, and it's free. You can start there. There are also some other resources you can get. That's where I'd start. And it's not only my resources, so I kind of recommend just in general things that you can do. Let's see here. What other comments? I can do a couple more and then we'll get started. Chris Johnson asks, I'm feeling a bit frustrated because I'm not recognizing words. I can sound them out, maybe realize it's hello or thank you. Is there a study exercise that might help? Chris Johnson, I'm going to make an assumption. I don't like making assumptions because I don't know you, but I'm going to assume you are brand new at learning Korean, that you've only been learning for maybe a week or so. That's normal. You're not going to be able to recognize words when you're still in the beginning level. But one thing you can do, and one thing you're going to do a lot of, is listen to more Korean. So you need a lot more Korean listening practice than you might think before you'll start to kind of hear things better. So I would say find a show, find something on YouTube. Preferably, if it's something complicated, you need Korean subtitles. So I would recommend something simple. YouTube is great because it's going to be the majority of content on YouTube channels in Korean is very simple. It's all real Korean. There isn't too much scripted stuff out there on YouTube. So just because they don't have like teams of writers and everything. So anyway, I would recommend YouTube. Find some more content you can consume and then ask the question again in a few more weeks. I would say give yourself some time to get used to sounds more. Don't feel like you have to suddenly start picking up words. It won't happen in the first few weeks. Or actually, it wouldn't really happen in the first couple months either. Carl asks, will you do an arm wrestling match? Oh, rematch. Yes, we had one. I don't like to talk about it. Arm wrestling. I don't think so. I need to train if I'm going to arm wrestle him because if you don't know, Hyunwoo from Talk to Me in Korean, he posted a video. It must have been artificially doctored. It was created by, ChatGPT, where I was arm wrestling with him at the office and I was just defeated terribly. Now, I don't know who leaked that video, but I'll just say I don't have plans for if I did do a match, I don't have plans for a rematch anytime soon. I would need to make sure I get strong because he was like, he wasn't even trying. He was just like holding his hand there. And then when we started, he just, I mean, allegedly. So not right now. But I do plan on meeting him again this trip. I haven't told him I'm going yet. I should probably let him know. I'll let him know when it's a little sooner and then we'll set something up. All right, I'll get started in just less than a minute. You've waited long enough. It's almost 2 o'clock. Let's see. Oh, welcome, Trega. Let's see. Notify Yoon says, do I need to go to Korea to be fluent? No, you do not. Going to Korea is a huge benefit because of all the Korean exposure you'll get and chances to use it. But you don't need to live in Korea to get fluent. You can learn Korean outside of the country as well. I will say, though, if you're learning Korean, eventually you're going to make your way to Korea anyway, so don't avoid it. Okay. So let's get started with the lesson. All right. We do have another live stream coming up next Sunday as well, so make sure to vote on that tomorrow. Oh, and one more thing. This week is the vote for the next Korean artist or artists or Korean group that I'm going to be analyzing in an upcoming Analyzing Korean video series that I'll be filming this month. So make sure to vote on that. Keep your eyes peeled. It'll probably coming up sometime in the middle of the week. So there will be a vote with the options that came from Patreon. So if you are looking to suggest a group, you have to go on my Patreon to do that. But if you're looking to at least vote for the final group that I pick, that will be up for everyone to vote on this week on my YouTube channel on the community tab. So just, pay attention to that. That's coming up this week, and it's going to be only this week for like a couple days, and then I'm going to start filming right away. So I have to do that. I have to make the whole series before I go to Korea next month. So I have to do the vote right now and start working on it immediately. Okay. So let's get started. The prerequisites for this lesson are that you know how to conjugate adjectives. If you're not a master at conjugating adjectives, don't worry. If you can only conjugate present tense adjectives, don't worry. It's going to be enough for today. But if you know how to do that, it'll be a huge help. So today we're going to be learning how to think in Korean, and we're going to be using a specific form known as 것, 같다. Here's how it works. A little more space. Okay, the basic way that this form works is you take a verb and you conjugate it to an adjective. So that just means changing a verb so that you can modify another word. So if you take the verb to be cold, well, you can have a cold day. Or if you take the word cute, you can have a cute cat. If you take the verb to be delicious, you can have a delicious pizza. Like that. That's all you're doing. And then you attach 것, which means thing, and 같다. Now, the adjective that you make, and I'll talk about this a bit more, can be in any tense you want. Most of the time, you're going to use the present tense. For example, if you say a cute cat, what you're saying is actually present tense, a cat that is cute. Now, there are adjectives in the past and future tense as well. You could say a cat that was cute or a cat that will be cute. But depending on the situation, you're probably not going to be using those for normal adjectives, but you could use those other tenses when you're saying to think. Okay, I'm still going over the form, so if that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it yet. Now, 것 optionally can also be 거. It's the same thing. Okay, before we go any further, let me give you a really quick example of just the conjugation so you can see what something looks like. Let's take the adjective small. So to be small. Well, to make a adjective, well, actually not an adjective, to make the verb to be small into an adjective, we're going to have to change it a little bit. And I'll go over these rules again really briefly during the live stream today. But let me just give you a quick example. So we have the descriptive verb 작다, to be small. How would you say a small house? I'm going to be covering these rules briefly today as well. But you get 작은 집, so a small house. Literally, this is actually the present tense, so a house that is small, if you want to look at it like that. So now we have 작은. So that's the adjective form of 작다, to be small. 작은 것 같다. And then you would conjugate this however you'd like. So 같아요, for example, 같습니다, if you're using a formal type of speech. Okay. Well, I don't want to go too fast. Let me just check the chat for a second, make sure we're doing okay. Nice, nice. Feel free to follow along by writing any conjugation if you'd like. I'll also give you 8 sentences today to practice. So don't worry, you're going to get, anyone here today is going to get a lot of practice with this form. So I have 8 carefully created sentences for this form. Okay, so what does 같다 mean? Does anyone here already know? I'll wait like 30 seconds if you already know what this means. What does 같다 mean? Paulina says, prepare some dad jokes with Hyunwoo. Yeah, we don't prepare any dad jokes. They just come out naturally, whether we want to or anyone else wants them to. Usually other people don't want them to. Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised several of you already know this. To be same, to be like something, to be similar, to be the same. Yeah, that's right. Similar, correct. Yeah, this form, this verb 같다, is a regular verb. You'll use it in Korean a lot. You can actually use it as an adjective too. It's just a regular verb. This verb 같다 I wrote that too small. Means to be like something, as in it is like that, or to be the same as something. So it is the same as that. So when you say, for our previous example, 작은 것 같아요, what you're literally saying is, it is the same thing as small, or it is like it is small. So when you are saying, I think it is small, 작은 것 같아요 is what you get. But literally what you're saying, whenever you say I think using this form, isn't really that you think it. This form has nothing to do with your thought. Literally, it doesn't sound like that either in Korean. When someone uses this form, a Korean listener is going to feel like one of these. It sounds like you're saying, it seems like something. So, 작은 것 같아요 doesn't really literally translate to, I think it's small. It just translates to, it seems small. Or, it's like it's small. Or it's the same as if it were small. But the way that verbs work in Korean is that when you express something, it's kind of like you're expressing your feeling about it. This is the way how a lot of descriptive verbs work. In Korean, when you say that something seems like something or something is like something, when you use this verb, it feels like you're also expressing it as your thought. So by saying it seems small or it seems a certain way, you're saying, well, it seems that way to me, therefore I think. So this is the most common way in Korean to express that you think something. Oh, I think the movie's too long. Oh, I think it's a good idea. Oh, I think so too. All of those think expressions would be made most naturally with this form, 것 같다. Okay, I'm not done explaining this form, but that's the gist of it. That's the basic way that it works. And then I'm going to spend a little bit of time going over the conjugation rules just for kind of a quick refresher. And then we're going to get into some sentences that I want you to make. I have 8 sentences and you're going to make every single one of them. So I'm just going to take a quick 30-second break. Steven Singh? Hold on. How much is that? That's like a couple bucks. HK. Yeah, that's like $2.50. Thank you. I don't know why YouTube doesn't just convert it for me. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate it. And Traga has a donation as well. Traga. With the, what's the difference between 원인 and 이유? Yeah, most of the time, if you're wondering which word should I use, 원인 is like the cause or the reason for something, and 이유 is more like a reason or an explanation for something. If you look at the 한자, it makes a little bit more sense because 이 from 이유 is more like logical sort of meaning, like reason type sort of meaning. The one you're going to use for the reason for something, like why did something happen, the reason, that's always going to be 이유. 이유 is the one you're going to use like 99 out of 10. I'm a Korean teacher, not a math teacher. 99 out of 100 times, you're going to use 이유. 원인 would be more like the cause of something. So what caused something, not what is the cause, not like, oh, what, like, do you have a reason for that? What was the reason? What did they say was the reason? It's a good reason. Like all of those are 이유. 원인, you're going to hear this in like detective dramas, like the cause of death, the cause of the problem. All of those things would be 원인. But if you want to get really technical, they both can mean reason. You can say 원인 for something like a reason for something, but it sounds like you're saying cause. So it sounds a little bit more official. So yeah, something that causes something. And we have another member, Evie Poo, 15. Nice name. Welcome. Thank you. Ayakata made a nice sentence. 이 주제에 대한, okay, you might want to say 이 주제에 대한 수업을 이미 만든 것 같아요. You could say something like that. Like I think you already made a class about this. Yes, I did. I did a live stream about this back in like 2018. It was one of my earlier, some of my first live streams. It was in that group. And I did it on I think it was on my cell phone. It took 2.5 hours to do the live stream. My internet cut out halfway through, so I had to split it into 2 sections. And you couldn't really see the board very clearly. And it was also the stream where my audio was messed up. So my microphone, or maybe I'm combining 2 streams. Yeah, anyway, my microphone was like at full blast because I didn't know how to do the settings on this microphone yet. Actually, it wasn't even this microphone. It was an older one. So yeah, it's a live stream that went too long and I didn't get to go into much detail because of that. So I'm splitting it up and that's why you're seeing another one. But you can still find it on my channel if you want to watch it. It's not a bad live stream or anything. It's just, it wasn't the quality that I do these days. This is quality, high quality stuff. Okay. Laura says, is this class for advanced? No, it's a beginner. It's a beginner live stream. I mean, it wouldn't be for brand new beginners. It would be for people who've already learned conjugating of adjectives. Okay, so let me do a quick review of how to conjugate this form. If you already know how to conjugate verbs into adjectives, this is going to be just a complete review. We're not going to go into a full review though. If you'd like a full review of how to conjugate verbs into adjectives, make sure to check out my live streams on conjugating descriptive verbs, which was November 24th, 2018, as well as my live stream on conjugating action verbs into adjectives, which was September 9th, 2018. So those are 2 live streams I would recommend watching. You can watch the abridged version. if you don't know, if you want more than this. But for what I'm going to tell you right now is going to be the bulk of conjugation. Okay, so the way that you conjugate a verb into an adjective will actually depend on whether you're using an action verb or a descriptive verb. Now, this is not a full review, but a really brief review again. Descriptive verbs are anything that are describing things, and action verbs are anything that you're doing. So if it's something that you can do, like think, eat, make, see, go, anything is an action verb if you can do it. And other things are descriptive verbs. So to be something, to be cute, to be tall, big, small, anything like that is a descriptive verb. So for the present tense, as in something that is something, is an adjective, you take the verb stem of the descriptive verb and you attach un if that verb stem ends with a consonant, or you attach just this letter, which is known as nian, if the verb stem ends with a vowel. That's the basic way to make it. Now, there are a few exceptions to that. If the verb stem, and if you've learned about conjugating adjectives already, these are the exact same exceptions. So this isn't some, you don't have to learn new rules for using this form called gata. You use the same rules you've already learned. But if it is a descriptive verb that ends with any of these letters, actually, we'll just keep it simple. There are a few exceptions. I'll just highlight two that are the most common. This letter, lir. If the descriptive verb stem ends with this letter, you remove it and continue as usual. So if you have the verb 길다, meaning to be long, well, you get the verb stem, which is 길. It ends in this letter. So you remove it, and now you're left with 기. Now it ends in a vowel. So you're left with 긴, and you're done. Now you have the adjective form of 길다, to be long. So now you can say 긴 영화, a long movie. 긴 책, 긴 이야기, a long story, like that. Another really common exception is if the descriptive verb ends with this letter, which is known as piup. This one is super common. So many descriptive verbs end with this. It's so common that you'll make this without even realizing it after you've practiced it a bit. For this one, you also remove it, but then you have to add something else. You add the syllable u. So let me give you a really common example. 맵다 means to be spicy. You're going to use this word daily because practically every Korean food is spicy. If you don't like spicy food, you're gonna have a hard time in Korea eating Korean food. There's still a lot of food you can eat that's not spicy, but I found most Korean food has some level of spiciness to it. 맵다, you get the verb stem. It ends with this letter, so you remove it. Now we attach u. And then you continue as usual. You add a nian because it ends with a vowel, and you get 매운. 매운 음식, spicy food. 매운 김치, spicy kimchi. Okay, there are more exceptions, of course. The other ones are slightly less common, so I'll just focus on these two. Okay, so that is how you conjugate a descriptive verb into an adjective as long as it's in the present tense. So literally what you're saying when you say 긴 영화, you're not just saying a long movie, but you're saying a movie that is, present tense, long. And when you say 매운 음식, you're not just saying spicy food, but food that is spicy. So spicy food. Let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow. I'm trying to go rather quickly though, because I know some people here already know how to do this and I don't want to waste their time, but I don't want to go too fast that then it's useless to even go over it. If you have an action verb though, however, if you have an action verb, it's simpler. You don't have to look at the last syllable. All you do is you take the stem and you attach 는, and you're done. Well, there is an exception. If it ends with this letter, just like before, you remove it. So if you have the verb 살다, to live, which is an action verb because you're doing something, you get the stem, you remove it, you attach 는, and you have 사는, and you're done. Also, one more thing to note. There are a couple verbs that are conjugated like action verbs that you might not think of as action verbs. The verbs 있다, to exist, and 없다, to not exist. These ones are also conjugated like action verbs. So you get 있는 and 없는, and you're done. Just know that these are action verbs, and you're not going to conjugate them as descriptive. You're not going to conjugate these as descriptive verbs. So I've seen some people write 있은. Now, 있은 is a legitimate conjugation, but not for this form. Should always be 있는 when you're using it as an adjective in the present tense. Okay, before I go into past tense, I'm just going to check, make sure we're all good. Let's check the chat for a second. Notify Yoon asks, I've heard this phrase, 그런 거 같다. Yes, that is a different exception that I didn't go over, but when you have a descriptive verb that ends with this letter, there are some exceptions, but for the most part, this letter also gets removed. This is known as 히읗, so the H sound, that extra air. So you have the verb 그렇다. Sorry, I wrote it kind of sideways to go around the lir here. 그렇다 means to be so, to be that way. So when you get the stem, you remove that letter, and you get 그런, 그런. Now, 그런 is used as an adjective regularly in Korean. 그런, that kind of. So to be that kind. So literally something that is that kind or that way. 그런 것 같아요. I think it is like that. I think so is what you get. But I didn't cover that exception just because I didn't want to bother explaining that it has an exception. 좋다, to be good, is a common exception for that. So, but there are a few other exceptions. Also, verb stems that end with this letter. There's an exception. Verb stems that end with this letter. Yeah, this one also has exceptions, but these are the same as when you're conjugating adjectives anyway. They're not exclusive to this form. So I didn't want to focus on all of the exceptions. Otherwise, this will just become a how to conjugate adjectives live stream because there are a lot of exceptions. But for the most part, those two are the most common ones that you'll see. Kenneth says, Duolingo actually taught me something, 있는 and 없는, but without explaining. You'll see that, yeah, if you hear a lot of Korean, you'll hear 있는, 없는 a lot, and you'll just kind of figure it out, but you might not know why, because 있다 is to exist, so you might think, wait, how is to exist an action verb? It's a description, but it is used as an action verb. It's also used as an auxiliary verb. It's kind of an exception, so you can just learn it as an exception. Okay. So that is present tense, and present tense is actually the most complicated, even though it's not too much, but it's still the most complicated because you have to learn separate rules and you have to learn exceptions. Now let's do past tense. But wait, before I teach you past tense, we have to talk about this for a second. So I said that the main conjugation is going to be present tense, But why would you use a past tense adjective? Why would you say something like the house that was small? I mean, yeah, maybe you might say the house that was small, the house that will be small, or something like that, but you wouldn't really use it in normal conversation. And you wouldn't. Why would you want to say, I saw a house that was small? No, you would just say, I saw a small house, right? So then why do you even need past tense or future tense adjective conjugation? Because it's with this form called gata that you need it. I'll give you an example. 작은 것 같아요. We did this example before. I think it is small. You can say something like 집, the house. 집이 작은 것 같아요. I think the house is small. Okay? What if you wanted to say, I think the house was small? That's when you need this. I think that the pizza we ate yesterday was too small. You need to make past tense adjectives because those are used with this form called gata as well as future tense adjectives. You might want to say, I think that the pizza we bought from Costco will be too big for 3 people. Will be too big. Future tense. When you're using this form, depending on what you want to say that you think, you're going to need to use a different tense of adjectives. So you're going to end up using present tense, past tense, future tense, and even maybe progressive tense. I think that 철수 is sleeping. Right now, sleeping. 자고 있어요. He is sleeping. That's progressive tense, is doing. I think that 철수 slept for 3 hours, past tense. I think that 철수 will sleep for 10 hours tonight, future tense. I think that 철수 sleeps every day at 4 p.m., present tense. All of these tenses are used and normal and sound completely natural when you're putting them into this called gata form, even if you would never use them in other conversations or rarely, right? Like, I think the house that I saw yesterday was smaller 2 years ago. Then yeah, you can use like, oh, no. Let me think. Just as an adjective, not as I think. The house that was 2 meters tall when I was a kid is now 5 meters tall. Like, you could use past tense adjectives in regular sentences without this form. It's just really uncommon. But with this thinking form, super common. You're going to use it every day. Okay, so now that I've clarified why you might want to use these in other tenses, let's go on to the past tense. For a descriptive verb, see if I can still write. Can I write down? Okay. For a descriptive verb, it's actually really simple if you already know how to conjugate verbs normally to make the 요 form, to say something. For example, how would you say 작다 in the 요 form? 작아요, right? 작아요. How would you make that in the past tense? It was small. 작았어요, right? If you don't know how to conjugate verbs in the past tense, like 하다 becoming 했어요, like that, this isn't going to make much sense because I can't cover those exceptions in this video. If so, you don't have to, I would say don't worry about past tense or future tense yet, if that's you. If you haven't been exposed to conjugating regular verbs in the 요 form in other tenses, don't worry about them in the adjective forms yet either. Just focus on the present tense. But for everyone else, you conjugate the descriptive verb as if you're just getting the regular past tense. When you get the regular past tense, you'll know because it ends with these letters, the double 시옷 letter. Once you get there, chop everything else off. So, for example, the verb 하다 would become 했어요. Normally, right? We see these 2 letters, we chop everything else off, and we're done. That's the stem. Then we attach 던, and we are done. So that's all you have to do for descriptive verbs for the past tense. Now you can say 했던 것 같아요. I think that something did something, or I think that something was something, like that. Actually, this wouldn't be I think something had did. This would be was. I'll have to talk about that in a separate lesson. There is a separate ton that could mean did something. So let me say that again. So now you would have, let's say this is a descriptive verb. You would have 했던 것 같아요. I think something was a certain way. Okay. Sarah, you would not get to 먹으시다. It has to be 드시다. 먹으시다 would be, kids might use it because if kid hasn't learned the correct word, but 먹으시다 wouldn't exist. It would be 드시다. I mean, it exists in the fact that you can write it, but it's not a correct verb. 드시다 would be the honorific of 먹다, or 잡수시다 would be very, very honorific, not used so much today. Okay, almost done with this. Okay, there is an exception for one verb. 이다. Now, 이다 is actually not an exception, but it's something just to note. Normally, when you conjugate 이다 to be into the past tense, you get one of these two. 이었어요, if it's after a consonant, or 였어요, if it's after a vowel. So you might say, it was a cat. 고양이, that ends in a vowel. 고양이였어요. Or 철수 was a student. He was a 학생. 학생 ends in a consonant. 학생이었어요. Was a student. Just like before, you cut off the ends and you attach 던. So it's not an exception, but it's just something to keep an eye out for, that it can become either of these. 였던 or 이었던. You can say 철수가, 철수, our friend 철수, 학생이었던 것 같아요. I think 철수 was a student. Like that. Okay, that's all you have to do for descriptive verbs. I'm going to go on to action. Now let's go on to action verbs. And I hope that you're taking notes, because I know it's kind of a lot of information, even though I've condensed it. It's still a lot of information. You'll want to just kind of look at it later for reference. And it's not something that you're going to have to refer to a lot. It's something, once you start practicing it, it'll just kind of feel right because you've used it so often. Here is where people mess up. For action verbs in the past tense, to make it into an adjective, where did I put my cap? Oh, here it is. This looks like the present tense descriptive verb adjective form, right? It's the same form, but now it's past tense. So if you're using an action verb, it looks like it's a descriptive verb when it's an adjective. And that can be confusing to beginners. And I see a lot of people conjugating verbs wrong because they don't know that it's an action verb, or maybe they saw it used a certain way and they think it's present tense because it looks the same. It's not the same, even though it conjugates the same. So you take an action verb stem. Let's take 하다, for example. 하다 meaning to do. So not the 하다 you might see in descriptive verbs at the end, but 하다 that you would see in action verbs meaning to do. The stem, it ends in a vowel, so you attach 한, and you're done. That's it. Han. Or let's do a different action verb. 찾다 means to find something. You're looking for something. 찾은, found. So now we have the adjective form in the past tense. Again, past tense, not present tense. If this was present tense, you would attach 는. But since it's past tense, you attach 은. So keep a note. Also, just like with descriptive verbs, it has the same exceptions. If it ends with a lir, you remove it first. So if you're using the verb 살다, to live, you get 산. And if you have this letter again, you remove it and attach 우, just like before. But these are less common for action verbs, though. Most of the verbs you see that end with this are going to be descriptive verbs, but there are still some that are action verbs that also end with it. Okay. I'm going to leave this up for just a second. I'm going to check the chat. I don't want to neglect the chat. See what all of you are saying here. Have some more tea while I'm waiting too. Traga says PT could be present tense. Okay, I know it could be. Fine. Could also be playable trailer. Like that Silent Hill playable trailer that everyone was talking about like several years ago. Yeah, past tense here. That's true. I should have been more clear about that. Yeah, past tense. Aniki asks, will I do a video on Truer? Yes, I have a full live stream on Truer. I'll post the Google document again. There's a whole live stream about it. Kenneth says this is exactly like school. Traga is the rebellious student. Yes, but I don't have to deal with people throwing spitballs at my whiteboard while my back is turned. And unlike school, anyone can just like leave and come in whenever they want. Okay. Okay, I think you deserve a break. I think you've done a lot of hard work. You know, we talked about exceptions for present tense and past tense, adjective, action verb, descriptive verb, blah, 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 blah. Let's do future tense. I could just write FT, but then I worried Traga is going to say something clever. This is future tense, the end. Well, okay, there are some exceptions. For the future tense, it doesn't matter if it's an action verb or a descriptive verb. Yay! Future tense, you just take the stem and you attach if it ends with a consonant, or just a lir if it ends with a vowel. And then just like before, you have the same exceptions. If it ends with this letter, lir, you remove it first, but since you add it back, it doesn't make a difference. So if it ends with this letter, you can technically just take the stem and you're done. So 살다, to live, would just be 살, and you're done. This letter as well, just like before, you remove it and you attach 우, and that's it. This one's simple. Thank goodness, right? Future didn't have the future looks bright. FT, featuring, yeah. Well, no, yeah, sure. Bula Sketches says, unlike school, I can be wrapped in blankets. That's true. Although if I were your teacher, I would let you bring blankets to class. I think that's acceptable. Blankets, stuffed animals, drinks, anything like that. Food is okay, but only if you're going to share because it'll smell really good. All right, I'm going to leave it up just for a second. I think we're ready for some sentences. The first sentence that I want you to make is, I think it's a bit cold. Cold. The verb you're going to need is 춥다, which is cold, as in to feel cold from the weather. Not something is cold, like a drink is cold, but you feel cold. 춥다. So I think it's a bit cold. Notice, actually not notice, but note, you do not need to say I when you're saying I think, unless you need to emphasize, like me, I think this. You can just make the form without 저는 or 제가 or anything else like that. So yeah, I think it's a bit cold. Carl. Yeah, if you let boys bring blankets, they'll just, oh, a notification popped up. They'll make fart bombs under them and trick someone to come and smell. Yeah, maybe. That's a risk that I'm willing to take because blankets can be really comfortable. Paulina, 조금 추운 것 같아요. Yes, perfect. 좀 추운 것 같아요. Yes, Traga, perfect. And Aniki as well, perfect. Let's see who else has one. Lexica, small typo Lexica, but your sentence other than that is perfect. Remember this, it's a strong consonant. Okay, let's see everyone else's. 좀 추운 것 같아요. Aniki, search for 줄, just 줄 by itself in the Google Doc. I'm going to search for it. One sec. Yeah, it's at the end of the Nunzi stream. You might want to watch the full version of the stream since it goes quite fast in the abridged version. Back in 2018, 2019, my abridged versions were faster than they are today. And I briefly mention it in the pa video for pa and kot. But that I didn't really teach it there, I just mention it. But still, I would watch a combination of those. But if I don't mention a specific form of 줄 that you would like to learn, let me know, and I can add it to a future live stream. We can have a future live stream all about 줄, but when I made that video, I couldn't think of any others, so that might be it. Yes, yes. 추운 것 같아요, Hopegate. Perfect. Carl as well. Perfect. 같네요. Yeah, you can use 같네요 as well. Okay. Let me give you an answer. 좀 추운 것 같아요. 좀, a little bit, a bit. 춥다, cold. 추운. What tense is that? It is a descriptive verb, therefore it is present tense. 추운 것 같아요. Literally, it seems a little cold. But that's how you say, I think it's a little cold, is by saying it seems a certain way. It's like it's a little cold. Next sentence. That was easy. Just wanted to get you started. That was easy. Okay. Next sentence. I think 철수 is sleeping now. I'm not going to give you any words for this. If you can't do it, don't worry. As long as you understand the answer, that's fine. I think 철수 is sleeping now. 철수. I'll just give you his name. I'll just give you 철수's name, so at least you can make it. I think 철수 is sleeping now. Aniki, if you can't find that form in the stream, I think I did do that one in the Nunji stream though. But if you can't find the specific form in the stream, let me know on Discord. Yes. 철수가 지금 잘... Oh, Paulina, I think you were trying to write 잠을. Yeah, 잠을. I see you fixed it. Good job. 자고 있는 것 같아요. Perfect. Paulina, that was fast. That was like so fast. Traga, 철수가 자고 있는 것 같아요. Sure. Perfect. But annoying with the 용 at the end. 철수가 잠자고 있는 것 같은데. You wouldn't need to use 같은데 here, but your sentence is still good. 아내키, 철수 자고 있는 것 같아요. Perfect. Carl, 철수, small typo for his name, Carl, but 지금 자는 것 같아요. Perfect. I think he's sleeping now. Okay. 철수가 지금 자는 것 같아요. Perfect. Let's see. And let me check who else. The other sentences, the ones that are not members, but I still see them. 지금 자는 것 같아요. Nice, Nina. Nice, Kevin. 지금은 철수가 자고 있는 것 같아요. Hopegate. Perfect. Aniki, yeah, I might watch the full version and skip ahead to the end. That was, if there is any live stream I've ever done, ever, that I would recommend watching the full version instead of the abridged, it would be that one. Simply because there was so much covered for the T form. But for specifically the 줄 ending, you might want to watch the full version because I don't think I covered it much in the abridged. So it might be worth redoing as a separate live stream since it didn't get enough coverage in the abridged version of, it didn't get enough coverage in the original live stream since it was at the end. Send that to me on Discord. I'll put it into the next vote. You'll have a full live stream about that next time. Well, next time that gets chosen. 잠잔다고. 아야카타, that's not the form we're using for today. 철수가 지금 자는 것 같아요. Kenneth, small typo for char, but yes, your sentence is perfect. 철수가 지금 자는 것 같아요. Perfect. 지금 철수가 자는 것 같아요. Nice, Trevin. Hope says, all of my example sentences are filled with 철수, as they should be. Okay. Oh, that was an ugly yo there. Do that again. 철수가, 철수, our friend 철수. 지금, right now. 자다, to sleep. 자고 있다, is asleep now. 지금 자고 있는 것 같아요. So it seems, or I think, that 철수 is sleeping now. 철수가 지금 자고 있는 것 같아요. So I think 철수 is asleep now. Okay, next sentence. I think the movie is too long. I think the movie is too long. I'm just going to give you some words here. I'm not going to tell you what the words are, but you need them. They're in the wrong order, but I think the movie is too long. So notice the tense. Always pay attention to the tense. Is too long. Previously we had is sleeping, ing. And before that, is a bit cold. The tense is going to change in the next sentence. So just pay attention to that. Paulina, way too fast. Aniki, no, you don't need to send a private message. You can just tag me in Discord anywhere. Just send it in the general channel or, oh, even better yet, post it in the members channel because I'll definitely check it there in case other messages flood up and I don't see them. 영화가 너무 긴 것 같아요. Paulina, perfect. Traga, 영화 긴 것 같아요. Annoying. Stop using dialect and cutesy language. But other than that, I mean, I guess it's still annoying, but your sentence is still perfect. Aniki, 그 영화 너무 긴 것 같아요. We're going to talk about 같아요 in a second, but don't write it. Besides that, perfect. Carl, 영화가 너무 긴 것 같아요. Perfect. Lexica, 그 영화, okay, nice. That movie, nice. 너무 긴 거 같아요. Perfect, Lexica. Traga, sorry, you're not sorry. Hopegate, 영어가 너무 긴 거 같아요. Perfect. I don't have the member role. I don't know why Discord doesn't give it to me. It's because you have to connect it with your YouTube and then you have to refresh the connection. But it should work other than that. You have your YouTube link. I don't know. Okay, if it doesn't work, check your Discord settings. If it really still doesn't work, then yeah, go ahead and just tag me in the regular general channel. Yeah, I don't know. Normally, though, it would have to do with linking if it's not properly linked. You could try disconnecting it and reconnecting it. Okay, let's see a few other sentences before we move on. Nina, nice. Let's see, Kevin, nice. Biologiana, medic. Sorry, I can't read that. I'm not going to try, but your sentence is good. Merav Levi. Oh, you wouldn't do ki는 because it's not an action verb. It's a descriptive, so it would become kin. If it was an action verb, then though, yes, it would be ki는. And there are some action verbs that would end with that sort of sound, like 밀다. To push something is an action verb, so you'd get 미는. But 길다 is to be long, so it would be a descriptive verb, 긴. Ayakata, I'm not sure what you're trying to write there. If you're trying to be goofy. Kenneth, 영어가 너무 긴 것 같아요. Okay, nice, Kenneth. Okay, so I'm going to give you an answer here. Most of you already got it. 영화가 너무 긴 것 같아요. 영화, the movie is 너무, too, 길다, long, is too long, present tense, 길다, 같아요. So I think, or it seems the movie is too long. I think the movie's too long. 영화가 너무 긴 것 같아요. Next sentence. I told you we have 8 sentences for you. The next one I want you to make is, pay attention to the tense. I think 철수 ate pizza. I think 철수 ate pizza. Just giving you some words. Just you don't have to worry about the spelling. Just look up here. I think 철수 ate the... Oh, this time, traga. Okay, so traga, this lesson isn't about ton. Ton is a further past version of the past tense. And yeah, it can be used like that, but that would not mean I think 철수 ate the pizza, but I think he had eaten. Back then, he had eaten in that sort of sense. So you wouldn't need to use ton for an action verb, unless you were trying to use ton, which is a different topic. I have a separate live stream all about ton. You can use 먹던 or 먹었던, but the only time you're going to use ton for the regular past, present, and future is when you're using past tense descriptive verbs only. That's the only case. Okay, let's see. 철수가 피자를 먹은 것 같아요, Carl. Perfect. 철수가 피자를 먹은 것 같아요, Paulina. Perfect. 철수가 피자 먹은 것 같아요, Aniki as well. Perfect. As well as Lexica. Perfect. Hopegate too. Perfect. Any others? Any of the other members? Okay, let's go up to the non-members. Let's see. Biologiana Medic. Nice. Karina as well. Nina. Merav. I'm reading them really quick. Ayakata. I'm not sure. Kenneth. Charsu. Yes. Lay. Nice. Kevin. Nice. Jojo, you just gave me 3 thumbs up, but it's nice. I'll accept that. Yes, and Traga as well. Perfect. Nice as well. Pula, except small typo. You wouldn't do katayo like that, but it's kat. You'll see it when I write the sentence. But yes, other than that, your sentence is great. Yeah, Traga, I was surprised I saw your name first before Paulina. I was like, he don't try it. Just let her. You're going to hurt yourself trying to run that fast. 철수가 피자를 먹은 것 같아요. Yes. I would have also accepted 피자가 철수를 먹은 것 같아요. But no one had that, but it would also be an acceptable answer. Even though it's wrong. In case you're wondering, in case you're like a beginner and you're like, wait, what? How is that? No, I'm joking. That would be wrong, but I would accept the answer anyway. Okay. Here, let me give you an answer. So I think Charsu ate pizza. I'm just going to start right here. So first we have 철수가 피자를 먹었어요. 철수 ate pizza. Now we're going to have I think 철수 ate pizza. So you just take the regular sentence and you attach the gata form and you're done. That's how you use this form to say I think. 철수가 피자를 먹은 것 같아요. So it seems or I think that 철수 ate, past tense, pizza. I think 철수 ate pizza. Okay, next sentence. I think I already saw it. I think I already saw it. Now, if you want to be fancy, you can replace it with anything. You can replace it with whatever. But the sentence, though, you don't really need any sort of object. Just, I think I already saw. I think I already saw it. For already, one of these means already. The other one means to see. So I'm not going to give you any other help. I think I already saw it. The winner can only be one, yeah. It's like Mortal Kombat. Did anyone grow up playing? I guess you'd have to be like my age or a little bit younger than my age. At least you'd have to be in your 30s to have grown up playing the original Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo. There's like one part of the game where you're supposed to like mash your buttons to like cut through wood and stone and then like diamond and then I think emerald or ruby or something after that. Impossible. I can never get past the stone even. Stone was too hard. Like hurt my thumbs trying to mash the buttons fast enough. Impossible. 불가능하다 means impossible. 불가능한 것 같아요. I think it is impossible. Carl says, if you are not first, you are last. Yes. Second place is the first loser, as they say. Paulina, 이미 본 것 같아요. Perfect. Traga as well. Perfect. Carl, yes. 벌써 also works as well. Perfect. Aneki, perfect. 그 사람. So I already saw that person. Perfect. Nice. Lexica has it. I already saw that drama. Very good. Hope Gate, perfect. Aniki, I reconnected my account to Discord and it still doesn't work. I don't know what to tell you then. I'm sorry. Just tag me in Discord. I'll put it up for the vote for the next time. Okay, let me read a few other sentences. Biljana Medic, you have to tell me how to pronounce your name because I'm saying it terribly, aren't I? Your sentence is correct. Your Korean seems very good. Lei, Laura, Kevin. I already saw Charsu. Nice. Karina, Moon Unji. You wouldn't need 빌리시는, but you could do 빌리시를. Like, I already saw Billy. That works. Or, I mean, you could use 는, but without any context, it could sound a bit awkward. Like, I already saw Billy is what it sounds like otherwise. So I would change that 빌리시는 to a 빌리시 with an object marker. Kenneth, Trevin, Mirav, nice sentences. 빌려나예요? 빌려나? Okay, so the J is a Y. 빌려나. I got it. Piliana. And is it medic or medi or something like that? With the C, the little like thing over the C. Okay, let me give you the answer here. I should also note that all of the sentences I'm giving you that you're making are 100% natural sentences. These are not awkward, like textbook sentences for beginners. You could say all of these sentences I'm giving you today, and no one would blink. I mean, they would be like, their Korean is so perfect and so natural, I cannot blink. So don't worry about like the sentences I'm giving you today. They're completely natural because this form is super natural sounding. 이미, already, 보다, to see. In this case, 본 is past tense. So the past tense form of to see, saw. 것 같아요. So it seems I already saw it, or I think I already saw it. 이미 본 것 같아요. Okay, next sentence. Just 3 more. Next sentence. I think Charsu did it. I'm just writing his name so you don't make a typo with him. I think Charsu did it. Did. So you're just going to use the regular verb to do. 하다. Nothing fancy here. It's a simple sentence, but the sentence again you make is going to be 100% natural. medic. Okay, it is medic. 빌리아나 medic. 철수한 것 같아요. Okay, Traga, the yo like that is... I have addressed this in the video where I talk about the differences between male and female Korean speech. That is more of a Korean female style of ending, of a way to pronounce it, but it's not wrong. It's simply a softer sounding ending. So I use it sometimes in speech, but just be aware that that's what the form is. It doesn't sound like you're trying to be cutesy or anything though. It's just a softer version. And Chaga, I would also add a subject marker there, but other than that, your sentence is great. Same Paulina, I'd also add a subject marker there, but it's fine without it. I would just add it. Carl, 철수가 한 것 같아요. Aniki, 철수가 한 것 같아요. Lexica, 철수가 한 것 같아요. Hope Gate, all of you are perfect. Let's see, let's read a few others. Biljana, yes. Berev, yes. Karina, small typo for Charsu, but yes, your sentence is good. Lei, Lorenzo, Hatasha, yes. Munanji, yes. Kevin, yes. Cheryl Lim, applause. Okay. Bula Sketches, yes. Kenneth, yes. Don't worry. Kenneth says you say I'm slow. Don't worry about that. If you get the sentence, that's the most important thing. You'll get faster. Trevin, yes. Okay. Let me rewrite this so it's easier to read. Charsu, our friend Charsu. Oops. Donation. Trega. You're already on my board. Thank you, Trega. A 12 foreign currency. It's pretty much similar to $12, a little more, I think. You say perfect. What's the difference between otta and patta? Please don't forget the dabs. Oh, okay, I'll give you the dabs. I'll give you your dabs you have in the on your tab as well. So 18. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, Okay, to keep it quick, ota is more of a receive sort of feeling. It has more of a not formal, but less casual feeling. Pata is simply to get. Pata is what you're going to use for passive verbs as well. Like when you're making a verb that doesn't have its own form to become passive, is you take the verb's, the mium ending. I've done a separate lesson about that. It's in the nominalization episodes. And you attach pata. So literally to get something, like 버리다, to be thrown away, is 버림 받다, literally to get 버림, to get thrown away. So that 받다 is the general receive or get. Anything that comes your way is 받다. 얻다 is more like to receive. So if you think of receiving something from someone else, or receiving something from doing something, like I gained that sort of 얻다, like it seems a little bit more beneficial. Getting something beneficial could be 얻다. But they both have the meaning of to get. If you're wondering which should I use, it's going to be 받다 most of the time. But you'll see 얻다 as well, like they received something. They got some, like I received a hope from something, or like that. So that's the really quick explanation. There's a little more to it, but that's the general explanation between them. Okay. 철수가 한 것 같아요. 철수, our friend 철수, 하다, to do, becomes 한, did, past tense. 것 같아요. I think, or it seems that 철수 did it. So I think 철수 did it. 철수가 한 것 같아요. Next sentence. I think it will be okay. I think it'll be okay. 괜찮다 is to be okay. Pay attention to the tense. Not, I think it is okay. I think it was okay, but I think it will be okay. This sentence is 100% natural. If your friend says, oh, I'm really worried about my test today, you can say, don't worry. I think it'll be okay. Paulina, 괜찮을 것 같아요. Perfect. Carl, perfect. Traga, perfect. Aniki, you wrote 괜찮아질 것 같아요. That's a perfect sentence. It's not the perfect translation of this one, but that means like I think it will become, like it's not okay right now, but it will get to a point where it's okay. It's fine. Though you don't need to use the 괜찮아지다 form. You can just use 괜찮다. But still, it's good. Yeah, Carl, you just had a small typo. Other than that, your sentence is perfect. I should have noticed the typo though. Now that I see it, I'm like, oh yeah. Okay, Lexica. Perfect. Hopegate. Perfect. All right, now let me check a few other sentences from the non-members. Biljana. Nice. Merav. Nice. Kevin. Karina. Trevin. Lay Lorenzo Hataja. All of you have nice sentences. In fact, it's all of you have the exact same sentences. So yeah, all of those are good. Great job, everyone. Any other people want to give an attempt? Yeah, I'm going to write an answer on the board. Aniki is saying you like to use other grammar forms. That's fine. Though I will say, basic grammar forms don't sound basic in Korean. Koreans are not used to hearing people from other countries speak their language at all, even like single words. If you can put together basic Korean, they're not going to think that you're a basic Korean speaker necessarily. It's things that make you sound like you're fluent aren't what you think make you sound like you're fluent. And maybe I should do a video on this someday, but basic grammar Short sentences do not make someone sound like a beginner to a Korean native speaker. What makes someone sound like a beginner is making beginner mistakes. But using basic grammar well, short sentences well, will make someone think, oh, this person speaks fluently. Versus someone trying to use advanced grammar, advanced vocabulary, and messing it up, that will make them think, oh, I guess they're still learning Korean. They don't know very much yet. It's quite messed up in how it's perceived simply because they're not used to hearing people speak their language. So they're not sure what is a beginner, what's an advanced speaker. It's just you speak Korean or you don't, kind of. And you don't need to worry about basic sentences. If you say, 괜찮을 것 같아요, that sounds fluent to a Korean. You don't have to say, 괜찮을 것 같지만 잘 모르겠네요. 괜찮을지도 몰라요. You don't have to use like other expressions to sound more fluent. Just use the correct expressions. And then once you're really good at those, you'll find sometimes that you need to use those other grammar forms that you want to use sometimes, but you'll find you actually need to use them. And then you can use them as necessary, not because you want to, I guess, either show off or practice, perhaps, the other grammar you know. So I wouldn't stress about it too much. If you can make sentences that are basic but are correct, that is wonderful, and you're going to sound really good. 괜찮을 것 같아요. 괜찮다. To be okay. 괜찮을 것 같아요. It seems like, or I think it will be, 괜찮을, future tense, okay. So I think it'll be okay. That's what I didn't get when I was in Korea. I heard people talk. Koreans would say like, oh, have you heard this person's Korean? They sound fluent. They sound like a native. And it would be the people I wouldn't think sounded fluent or like a native. But then I later realized, no, it's just because they're using those, whatever they know, they're using it very well. Not necessarily this person's using, this advanced grammar. Yeah, that does make you sound more fluent, but sounding really good is just, it's a general baseline you can get to just by having accurate Korean. Like that, accurate Korean alone will make you sound incredibly good in Korean. Okay, last example before I go on to some notes for the lesson. I think it will be delicious. So, delicious. 맛있다, or 맛있다 without, this is an optional subject marker you can add or not add. 맛있다, to be delicious, to taste good. Or in English, we would just say good, to be good. I think it'll be good. So your friend says they're going to cook you a peanut butter anchovy pizza. And you just so happen to be a Ninja Turtle. You're like, that's amazing. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be great. I think it will be. Future tense. Carl says the better you get, the shorter sentences you'll make. Yeah, that's kind of true. I tend to make a lot of short sentences. And then if I'm really like going on a tangent and talking a lot, I might make a longer sentence, especially if while I'm talking, I change what I'm talking about, then it'll be long. But short sentences are great. Paulina, 맛있을 것 같아요. Perfect. Aniki as well. Perfect. Traga, perfect. Carl, perfect. Traga, yeah, you can say 맛있겠네요. Yeah, sure. Perfect, but not this form. Merav, Munanji, nice. Lexica. Oh, Munanji, small typo, 같아요, but I think you'll catch that. Lexica, perfect. Hope Gate as well, perfect. Biljana, nice. Karina. Karina, you'd want to use a different marker, not the object marker, since there is no action verb in that sentence. You can't have an object marker without an action verb. You can use the subject marker, for example. 이 음식이, if you want. But small typo for 음식, but besides that, that's the only thing I'd change, is just remove the object marker. Trevon, nice. Lay, I think you have a typo for 맛있을. I would check that for Lay Lorenzo. Laura, nice. Aniki says, it's hard because in my native language, I make long sentences. We do in English as well. English speakers tend to talk a lot. Maybe this is an American thing. I don't know. But we tend to make very long sentences. Korean, you can express the same thing in shorter sentences. So I wouldn't say that Koreans make short sentences and Americans make long sentences because that's quite a generalization. But in general, if we're going to make a generalization, yeah, the sentences you're going to hear in Korean are going to be shorter than what you'd hear in English. But not that they speak less, they'll just make more short sentences. Wait, I spelled that wrong. I see that. Yeah, no worries. 맛 없을 것 같아요, zombies. Yeah, sure, it's the opposite, but it's still a good sentence. Okay, let me give you an answer here. 맛있을 것 같아요. 맛있다, to be delicious, to be tasty, to taste good, to be good. Future tense. 것 같아요. It seems like, or I think that it will be good. As in, it'll taste good. I think it'll be good. 맛있을 것 같아요. 맛있을 것 같아요. So I think the sardines and shrimp and blueberry pizza will be delicious. 맛있을 것 같아요. I was thinking about it for real for a second. No, I don't think that would be good. No. Okay. So that is all you need to know about this form for the most part, but there are a couple other things you should know. When you use this form to say that you think something, that's how it works. What if, though, you wanted to say that you don't think something is something? For example, what if you said, I don't think it's a bit cold. I don't think Charsu is sleeping. I don't think the movie's too long. I don't think Charsu ate pizza, etc. How would you do that? Now, the beginner might think you do this. Or even this. For example, 철수가 지금 자고 있는 거 같지 않아요. Or 자고 있는 거 안 같아요. This one is completely wrong. You'll never hear this. You won't hear it becoming negative like this. You might hear it becoming negative like this. 같지 않아요. But there is a more better, bestest way of doing this. There is a more natural way of doing this. And that is making the verb before it negative and then attaching 것 같다 as usual. Let me give you an example. I think this eraser is nearing the end of its life. It's just smearing all the ink everywhere. For example, if you wanted to say, I don't think it's good. 좋은, from 좋다 to be good. 좋은 것 같지 않아요. It makes sense. I don't think it's good. You could say this. But it's more common that Korean speakers will actually do this. 안 좋은 것 같아요. Literally, I think it's not good. So it's more natural to say, I think something isn't, than it is to say, I don't think something is. All right, I'll just leave that up for a second. You can absorb that. So again, it's more common and usually more natural to say you think something is than to say that you don't think something isn't. Wait, you don't think something is. Yeah, let me say it again. It's more natural to think something isn't than it is to not think that something is. And there's one more thing I have to mention about this. Traga, I thought we'll talk about that in a second too. Don't worry, I'm going to talk about that as well. Okay. However, this is not to say that you don't say I don't think in Korean with this form. You can. Again, you're not going to say 안 같다, but you could say 같지 않다. So 좋은 것 같지 않아요. I don't think that it is good. You can make that sentence. It's not unnatural. It's not strange or unnatural. However, it's less common. So when would you say 같지 않다? I don't think. The answer is anytime you want to emphasize that you do not think a certain way. For example, if your friend says an idea that you think is dumb, you might say, 안 좋은 것 같아. I don't think that it's good. Or literally, I think it's not good. 안 좋은 것 같아. But what if you want to say, I do not think that's good. 좋은 것 같지 않아. So I do not think. So you're emphasizing that you do not think something. You're not simply saying I don't think something. You're saying I do not think that way. Like, well, me, I do not think that. Maybe you think that or someone else thinks that or something like that. But I do not think this way. So if you want to emphasize that there's a certain thing that you do not think, then use the negative form. But generally, if you just want to say, I don't think so, or something like that, you can use the regular kata form just with a negative verb before it. Let me give you an example. I wrote this a little small. One person asks another person, 그런 것 같아요? 그렇다, to be so. So, do you think so? 그런 것 같아요? Do you think it is? Do you think so? And you want to say, I don't think so. You could just say, 안 그런 것 같아요. I don't think it is. But you want to say, no, I do not think so. 그런 것 같지 않아요. Like, hey, do you think so? Nah, I do not think so. So it's for emphasis. You'll hear it still. It's not that you won't use it. It's used, but it sounds more emphatic than it does in English. So the regular way to say you don't think is just with kata. But if you want to emphasize like, I do not think that, that's not what I think, then you would use it. So anytime it feels natural to say that's not what I would think, then use the negative form of kata like this. Also, all of the examples we had today were in the present tense. They were all just 같아요, present tense. You could also use this in the past tense if you want. What would that look like? It could have a few different forms. One common way would be 같았어요. That's fine. You can say, 괜찮은 것 같았어요. I thought that it's okay. 맛있을 것 같았어요. I thought it would taste good. 철수가 피자를 먹은 것 같았어요. I thought that 철수 ate the pizza. Most of the time you don't need it in the past tense, but you can use it in the past tense. It sounds okay. It's just a little less common. Typically you don't need it. If you say, I think 철수 ate pizza, literally, again, you're saying it seems 철수 ate the pizza. You don't really need to say, I thought yesterday that 철수 ate the pizza. You can just say, I think today it seems that Charsu ate the pizza yesterday. It already has the past tense in it. So a lot of times you'll find that because gata just means to seem or to be like or to be the same, you don't need the past tense, but it's not unnatural to use it. Feel free if you want to express that you thought something. 같았어요. However, do not make this form into the future tense. It sounds extremely awkward. 같을 거예요. 같겠습니다. That sounds like it will seem like. It doesn't make sense to say something will seem like something. So you wouldn't say I will think. If you want to say I will think and there's a context for that, you're going to want to use the other form for saying to think, which is 생각하다, which we'll have next Sunday. But don't use this form for future tense. And one more thing. While it is always written as 같아요 in the 요 form, you might also hear it as 같아요. Or sometimes people write it like this as well. It should not be written this way. It's just a typo. It's not an alternate slang way. It's simply wrong, like spelling something wrong. But it is pronounced this way more often than it's pronounced this way, because this is originally part of, I believe, Seoul dialect. So this is kind of like a dialect, but it's so common, you'll hear it everywhere. Maybe it's more of a feature of just younger Koreans speak, but younger Koreans speak from like 30, 40 years ago or so. It's really common. You'll hear this all the time. I even pronounce it this way. 같아요. 그런 거 같아요. It's actually a bit hard for me to say it as 그런 거 같아요 in conversations, just because the first thing that comes out of my mouth is 같아요. Feel free to say it like 같아요. It's much easier to say 같아요 than 같아요. But know that when you write it, it should still always be 같아요. Okay. And that is the lesson for today. Before I forget, let me make a thumbnail for the lesson, because I didn't do a thumbnail for today. So what would be a thumbnail? Let's see. Let me move the microphone. I'm going to do a pose for the thumbnail. I think that should work. Okay, so that's the lesson. I'm going to stick around for about 5-10 minutes and take some more questions. Feel free to ask me anything you'd like. It's an open Q&A. Pronunciation is 같지. Yes, that would be 같지 if you're using the T ending with that. Bare language, that will be using the form that we're going to be learning next Sunday. You asked how do I say I will think about it? To say you will think, to say thinking as an action, you're going to use a different verb, 생각하다, which we'll be learning about next Sunday, but you would use 생각하다 for that. Bula Sketches asks, is 것 같다 more common than 생각하다? When you're saying I think, yes, you're going to use 것 같다 9 times out of 10. 생각하다, we'll talk about that for next time. As well as a bit about how it's different, like when would you want to use one or the other. But 생각하다 is just an action verb that means to think. 것 같다, as we learned, doesn't mean to think. It just means something is, something seems, something's like. Traga asks a question. What's the difference between 뜻 and 의미? Well, 뜻 has a few different meanings besides just 의미. It also means like will, like your what's your purpose? Kind of like that, like 의지, if you're familiar with that word. 의미 is specifically for the meaning of something. 뜻 also works for the meaning, but if you're talking about like what's the meaning of something? Typically these days I hear 의미 used more. But if you're just like the meaning of a word, you can use either. 의미 has slightly more of a formal feel to it because it's from Sino-Korean, it's from Chinese. Lexica says, thumbnail with a blank board. That's okay. I'm going to write something on the board in the thumbnail. That's where I put the topic name. So it's fine that it's blank. Well, it's not completely blank. I do have my extra love board here for today's special supporters, Zandria, Stephen, and Traga. Thank you, all three of you. Volkfinit says, would you use the past tense modifiers? Did you, if you might have missed the lesson in the beginning of the lesson for the first 30 minutes or so, I explained how to use the conjugation, and 던것 같아요 was one of the forms that we had. That was specifically for past tense descriptive verbs. Biljana Medik, great job today. You're welcome for teaching. Becca says this is tough at almost 59. Hopefully you're able to follow along with the sentences though. I know that the conjugation part is a bit frustrating because there are lots of conjugations to learn, but the sentences themselves, hopefully those at least make sense. Gongrath says, why don't you do K-pop song explanation videos? Why don't I do K-pop song explanation videos? Well, there's an easy answer to that, and it's copyright. I wouldn't be able to do it. So instead, I settle for doing Korean music artist analyzing videos, because those ones I can use really short clips that won't get caught by the filter. They're so short, and it's more fair use because I'm just showing sections without, I'm not playing the whole show. I'm adding my critique to it. So it's fair use, it's legal. However, songs are more of a gray area. Not to go into legal reasons for that, but they are not technically fair use for doing analysis videos about those always. So it would be more difficult to do that. And the videos would get claimed. I wouldn't be able to make any advertising revenue from it. So I can't do it. Maybe someday if I had enough support through my Patreon and YouTube channel that I didn't need to rely on YouTube advertising, then I can do it. But for the time being, I'm not in that state. Traga says, will you do a video about Chuseok? I'm never in Korea during Chuseok, so not yet. Maybe someday if I can be in Korea around this time in October-ish, then I'll do a video about it. But I'm always in the States during Chuseok. Zandria says, I loved your video for Korean teachers. Yes, I remember that video. That was a fun video to make. Since you mentioned it, can you speak more on using beginner sentence examples that are not so useful? Sentence. Can you give me an example? I'm not sure what you mean, Zandria. Aneki, what does 제대로 mean? Means doing something proper, legitimately, the correct way. 제대로 하다 is to do something the right way, like instead of messing around and, not taking it seriously, to do it for real. Kind of like that. Although there's a different way to translate doing something for real, but that's the general way, like doing something legitimately, properly, like that. Paulina, 지금 자러 가요? You're going to sleep now? Thanks for coming. I guess it must be really late over there in Holland. Let's see. Carl says, what about 옛날 이야기? 옛날 이야기, that would be, it depends if you mean the actual stories themselves in their original forms, or just the old stories, and everything else has changed to modern Korean. If it's the latter, I've done that in my reading book. My Korean Reading Made Simple has a couple stories that are old stories, but they're not written in the old style. They're written in modern, regular Korean that you would see today. In the original form, though, the older Korean, I wouldn't bother teaching it because there's no place to use it these days. No one speaks like that anymore. No one writes like that anymore. The only place you'll see that sort of actual older speech would be in other poetry or other stories like that. Zandria says, 빌리는 빨간 공을 원한다. Billy wants the red ball. What is the red ball? Let's see. Hold on, I have to go back up. I missed something. Oh, yeah, there we go. Zombie says, aren't lyrics a bit more poetic? Yes. So the poems and songs will use Korean that's not normally used in speech, as well as pronunciation that's flat out wrong, not like poetic pronunciation, just 100% wrong. It's very common. You'll find that in most songs. I don't want to say most songs, but a lot of songs you'll find it. It's very common. And grammar that's just flat out wrong too, because they want it to match the rhyme of the song. So I never recommend using songs for learning Korean. Songs are fine for analyzing. You want to see like, oh, what did they say? What does it mean? That's fine. But I wouldn't use it for learning new Korean until you're at a fully conversational level and you can understand this is not real Korean for speech. Until you're at the level where you can understand that already, I wouldn't recommend using them. But for advanced speakers or people who are already fluent in Korean, yeah, go ahead. You can get a lot of fun words and, you can see, oh, I see what they did with this word to make it rhyme, or they did this. And it's kind of fun. You can pick out a lot of stuff like that. And I would like to do a series because I think I could provide a lot of that information to viewers. Like, look at the lyric that they used here. He or she wrote here. You might think it means this in English, but actually it has a triple meaning here or something like that. Things you wouldn't pick up if you just read the English translation, but I wouldn't be able to, at least not on YouTube. Okay, let's see. Lauren, good luck with your university classes. I'm just reading down here quickly. Aniki, if I tag you in Discord, the Patreon and YouTube roles, we don't control those. Those are automatically set. So I can't manually give it to you because then it would conflict if it ever worked and gave it to you later. You're not missing out on too much though, because you still get access to the Discord, but it is a different color on your name if it was connected. Try to connect your Patreon account with it if you had that. But yeah, I'm not sure else why it wouldn't be working. That's just kind of weird that it's glitching on you. Traga says, speaking of K-pop, 가장 좋아하는 K-pop 그룹이 뭐예요? Yeah. My favorite K-pop group. I don't have a favorite K-pop group because I'm not a big fan of any specific group or that's not true, not artists, but not any specific group in particular. I do have some artists, individual artists that I follow, but lately none. Not that I'm like actively following right now. I think if I have to say there's one person that I do follow for most of their stuff, it's a hip hop producer named Primary. He wears like a cardboard box on his head, but he produces music for lots of other people. And well, I should say he does collabs with a lot of other groups. So you might hear his music in other groups, but not know it's him. But it's hip hop. So it's not going to be like it's not going to be the K-pop style, but it's hip hop style. I like a lot of his melodies, a lot of his collabs that he's done. He's helped me find some other artists that I like as well. So I guess him. You can try and force Discord to update integration. No, I didn't know that. If there's an easy way to do that, send a message to the, there's a moderator, a bot in my Discord. You can message the bot. I think it's still active. If it's still active. Anyway, if it's not, then just send a message regularly. And if there's a way to do that, let me know. I can do that. Hopegate, what's the counter for stories? Are you talking about books? If it's books, then that would be Kwon. Aniki says, can't you just analyze the lyrics without getting claimed? That would be boring. But yes, technically, it wouldn't get claimed if it's the lyrics because there's nothing for it to pick up. Now, the group could find my video manually and claim it, and some entertainment groups are that vicious when it comes to that sort of thing. But no, most likely it would just be from the music. Even if I used like 2 seconds of the music, though, it would get claimed. If I don't have any music for the songs, it's just boring. And then still technically showing all of the lyrics would also be not quite fair use. That's displaying the entire material. So that's arguable that if they wanted to, they could claim it and they could successfully take it down. Do I have a lesson about mock? I've mentioned it a lot in my videos. I don't have a separate video about it by itself, but essentially it just means just or like. I would say like is the closest translation. Like when you say like in English, like without any meaning. It also has the feeling of someone doing something recklessly or carelessly. They're just like mock doing something. Like they don't care, like whatever, recklessly, wildly, that sort of feeling. But the meaning, the literal translation, I would say would be like. There's nothing else really to it. Just that. Don't use it too much. It'll sound like you're very young, but you can sprinkle it here and there when you're speaking casually with someone and it'll sound nice. If you hum the songs, they can demonetize. They might pick it up from humming. Yeah, it could count as a cover. Let's see. Maximilian, okay, asks a question. I've got a question. I started Korean over and over, but I feel it's difficult to stay motivated, I think is what you're trying to say. Staying motivated, check my channel. I have a few videos actually. This isn't something I would talk about here because it would go on forever, but I have some videos about staying motivated or finding your motivation in Korean. And check in the Glass with Billy series. You'll find a video about that. You'll find actually a couple videos about that, more than one on my channel. Hey, Felix says, that's why you hum only rap songs, make it hard on, that's also hard on me too. I can't rap, at least not in Korean. Not yet. Someday I would like to do a karaoke live stream, but I don't think I'd be able to do that here on YouTube. It would get claimed. Maybe on Twitch or on a different platform or directly over Patreon. I could do like a karaoke stream or something where if I don't have to worry about the copyright for the music. That could be kind of fun. I'll sing you some Korean songs. Anyone that meets me in Korea, if I do a fan meeting in the future, maybe I should do a fan meeting where we go to a 노래방. That could be kind of fun. After the fan meeting, take like, 9 other people, 10 other people, rent out a big 노래방 for like a couple hours and just sing. Moon Unji. All right, I'll just take a couple more questions. I'll stop at 45 so we don't go too long. Moon Unji says, whenever I speak Korean, I make tons of mistakes. I feel so bad, so I stay quiet. How can I improve? Shorter sentences. That's one piece of advice I'll give you. Make shorter sentences. Helps you be less afraid of making mistakes because they're easier to make. You can keep speaking, so you don't have to be quiet. You don't have to miss out on the conversation by not saying anything. And you'll still sound, as a benefit, you'll sound more fluent by making shorter sentences that are accurate. Addie says, where can I buy your cap? This hat? You can buy it in Korea. You should be able to find this one. This one's not a rare one. The other one I have is impossible to find that I wear for some videos. This one, though, you could probably find it at many hat vendors in tourist areas. Just pay attention. One of my subscribers a couple years ago actually found it and bought it and sent me a video wearing it. Let's see. Igor Santos says, do you have any advice about thinking in Korean so that you're thinking instead of translating from your native language and then going to the language? Thinking is going to be the same as speaking. So if you can think in Korean, you can speak in Korean and vice versa. If you're not able to speak in Korean normally, you're not going to be able to think. I wouldn't focus on thinking in Korean, though, separately, because it's going to come to you when you're speaking. When you start speaking, you're not going to be able to translate what your native language is into Korean while you're speaking anyway. When you actually start speaking, even at the intermediate level, you're already thinking about what you're going to say in Korean. So I wouldn't worry about it. As your speaking gets better, you'll be able to think naturally. It'll happen where even your basic sentences, you're not fluent yet, but even your basic sentences, you're going to be thinking those next words in Korean. Oh, what should I say? Even if it's a simple sentence, like, I think Charsu ate the pizza, you're going to say, I think Charsu ate the pizza. Charsu가. You're not going to think pizza, you're going to think pizza because you know that word. You might think eat. 먹다. 먹은 것 같아요. You're going to think most of your sentence. And as you get better, you'll think all of your sentence in Korean. And when you start speaking and having conversations, everything you think while you're speaking will be in Korean. And so that's what it is for me. That's what it is for everyone who speaks Korean. You're also thinking of what you're saying in Korean, but you don't have to develop this as a separate skill. Ayakata says, you did rap in that song with your Korean sim. Yeah, I did make a rap video. Not that many people know this, but I did a song together with your Korean sim a couple years ago. During the summer, we met up and got a music producer and made a real song. And we made a music video and a dance. And it's really fun. And I like the video. It's called 지겨가지마. Don't literally translate. And you can find it on my channel. Search like music video or whatever. It didn't get that many views, but I think it's hilarious. Most people don't know about that. Zombies, people don't need to know. No, come on, people. The song is hilarious. Even my wife sometimes is like humming it randomly. Like I'll go like walk around and I see she's like she's like humming it to herself. Merav says it's almost 2 a.m. in Israel, so it's time to sleep. Nice. Have a good night. 좋은 밤 보내세요. Yeah, definitely check out that if you didn't know. For those of you who have stuck around, go watch my music video, 지겨가지마. You can search for it on my channel, search music video, or it's in the Q&A series or the tips and tricks series. I can't remember. Anyway, there's only one music video on my channel that is like all music video. And that's the one. And it's really fun. We had a blast recording it and then filming it. And my friend Forrest also helped out with filming that day, since some scenes have both of us in the video, so we needed someone to help with the filming for that. Yeah, turned out really great. I'm happy with it. 지겨가지마, 어색하잖아. Kenneth says, I don't know which bot I should @ about the Discord thing. Yeah, you can just @ me on Discord, and don't send a message because I probably won't get it, but just @ me in the general chat and I'll see it. Okay, I think that's enough for today. I don't want to go too long. I got to start editing this video so I can upload it. All of you members can watch the video in a few hours from now. Thank you everyone for coming, and I will see you next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.